All right, guys. Hello and welcome to Live in the Moment with Rodney and Zach. We are really excited to be here with you. We have two great guests. So here's some feedback. I do not know. Let me see what's going on. Does anyone have an earphone?
I do.
Don't use your earphones. Use your regular
Gotcha.
microphone from your computer. I think the earphones typically, because when you move, you hear the movement of the earphones. So we have two great guests with us. The first one being Ryan Slack, pharmacist. Ryan, welcome to Live at the Moment, Rodney and Zach. Rodney is en route. He got stuck in traffic as he's coming home from the weekend. Welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey, my friend.
Okay. All right. Well, first off, thank you so much, Zachary, for having me. Nice to meet you, Ryan. Thank you both. I'm excited to be a part. My name is Vince Ashton, 30 years old, native to the great city of Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta native.
Yes, I am a true ATL East Point Zone 3 all day, every day.
What high school?
Say what?
What high school?
So I went to high school in Clayton County, Lovejoy High School.
Okay, Lovejoy High School.
Lovejoy High School, and from there I went to Florida A&M University. So I am of the HBCU pride. With that,
remind me to bring that up a little bit later in the discussion.
Okay, cool. We'll do. Outside of that, I like to consider myself a Renaissance man, a man that tries to do it all or does it all, if you will. Event host, MC, host of ballad bands, artist, songwriter. I have a cheesecake company. I'm a great photographer. I do a lot of red carpet events for the Trumpet Awards and the Black Music Honors. And then recently, an activist, which is how we met, through Blacktivity, a social justice conference I just put on last week. That was very successful. So yeah, just all over the place, and I love it.
So we're gonna talk about Blacktivity as well. I'm gonna bring that up. That's the thing I want to talk about, kind of explore. In addition, here to Vince Ashton, an Atlanta native, one of the few born and raised in our city. We also have pharmacist Ryan Slack. Ryan, welcome to Live in the Moment, Rodney and Zach, my friend.
Thank you, Zach. I'm glad to be here. I've been excited. I've been looking forward to this.
But you've been working so much, my friend, so I'm glad you joined us. And tell us a little bit about yourself, and while you're telling us, we want our viewers to chime in. Tell us who you are in the chat and where you're from. Talk to me, my friend. Tell me about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Ryan Slack, Dr. Ryan Slack. I am a pharmacist here in the Metro Atlanta area. I work for Kroger. I've been in pharmacy healthcare for about 6 years now, and this is my first full year as a pharmacist. So this is my first big boy job, you could say.
Do we have a COVID-19 vaccine that you guys are keeping in the back, hidden away from us?
Yeah, we're hiding it from everybody. We're keeping it for ourselves.
Well, I don't believe you. Did you sneak some down to Herman Cain?
Yeah, he'd probably be one of the last people on my list to get it. I'm kidding. No, we don't have a vaccine yet. Something they're working on.
Okay.
But yeah, I love my job. For those of you who don't know what a pharmacist does, this isn't to insult anybody's intelligence. I didn't even know until I started working there. But what a pharmacist is we're an essential part of the healthcare team. So we're working with your doctors and nurses to make sure that people are getting the correct medication that will work for them, that is affordable, that they can remember to take on a daily basis, and they know how to use it. And that's our job, is to make sure you know how to use it. We are the most accessible healthcare professionals. There's a pharmacy on every corner. You can go in there and ask them any question you need to ask, and we are, trained to answer those. So I love my job. It's very rewarding, very challenging. I'm learning every day. And so, yeah, I've been doing this for about a year, and I'm looking to see what my next step is going to be. I don't plan on being in retail forever, but I do really enjoy what I do.
Rodney, take your time. You join us when you can, my friend. Don't rush. Get off the road safely and get online safely. So, Ryan, this is a real question for you, and then I'm going to go to you, Vince. But when you have encountered people who have been affected by COVID-19, what has been your pharmaceutical advice to them in terms of what they may be able to take that may alleviate some of the symptoms that they're dealing with?
What can alleviate it? The symptoms? Well, we're still learning a lot about it. So there's been some things that come out on a weekly basis. So like one thing was to not take ibuprofen anymore because that can enhance the effects. And one thing was not to take steroids. And then a month later, they said steroids is the thing that we're using to treat it now. So I tell people to do what they can to keep themselves comfortable. There's no right answer. We're still learning a whole lot about it, and you just got to be careful. You got to do what you can to isolate yourself if you're infected and stay away from your families. Stay out of. I had a friend who had COVID, and I actually saw him just a few days ago at 4th of July, and he was just affected. I mean, he was just in bed sick like 2 days ago, and I'm like, what are you doing out? So do what you can to stay inside. Just be mindful of others because, while people our age may be healthy, there are, elderly people, there are babies that may not be as lucky as us and may end up hospitalized. So you just got to keep yourself comfortable and treat the symptoms as they come.
Right, Candace. Wow. Like, this is awful to hear that your friend was out
and about.
Really, anyone who was sick 2 days ago, there's no way that they are no longer able to spread the virus. So that is something, and it's a lesson to all of us that we really need to continue to be careful and continue to really be diligent with the virus and moving forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, one thing as a native, Vince, you're a native of Atlanta. You born and raised here. This has been in the news quite a bit. We've had a lot of news around the spike in violence in our city regarding, it all started, of course, with the George Floyd protest. Then we had the loss of H.R. Brooks. We've had continuous mounting call-outs from our police officers. And this past weekend, violence in Atlanta reached a weekend or a holiday weekend high. Do you feel as though the city's response has been appropriate, yes or no? And do you feel as though now is a time for the state government to intervene?
All right, ask your first question one more time. I heard the second one.
Do you feel as though our city's response has been appropriate? That's question number one.
I like to say yes. In just researching more in regards to the story that happened about the little girl that lost her life, I know we're going to get into that later on in the show. Specifically speaking to that university area and the Wendy's or what have you, which I actually had the honor to go pay my respect to Rashard Brooks not too long ago, actually last weekend, if you will. In reading a report, it mentioned that Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms made this agreement with those persons that were sort of, I guess we could say, governing that area themselves because of the distrust of the police. I know that the city of Seattle had a similar safe zone, if you will, which seemed to be a good medium to at least have both sides being heard. Okay, I'll give you your land, you'll respect this, so on and so forth. But now, to your point, with just the rising violence, if you will, it's like the state, well, the city is stuck between the rock and a hard place. I do feel like, again, to answer your question, her response was admirable. However, I still feel like there needs to be some type of policing and security happening in these areas, so it won't get to the state, then first or the national, and now we're back at, step one when Trump was trying to send everybody in, when the protests and the rallies were happening, in the George Floyd protesting era, if you will. So, I can only imagine it is a very difficult place for Mayor Bottoms to be sitting in right now. So I'm really just praying for her wisdom, for all of our elected appointed officials' wisdom as well.
Did y'all hear that she was tested positive? today?
It's coming up, Ryan. That is the next story.
Oh.
It's the next story. It's see, I got a whole slide for it. We got it. We got it.
Okay.
But before we go into that, what do you feel about what happened this past weekend with the increase in the surge in crime? Vince, you're right. The protesters have taken over that area, trying to create like another Seattle zone. And Vince says that it's a good effort to make a balance. What do you think?
I think that there's always a big increase in violent crime, shootings on 4th of July and holidays like that. I think, I don't know. I think, like he said, we're between a rock and a hard place. We don't trust the police right now. There's just, I don't know. There's just so many different. Hey, Rodney. There's differing, I don't know, attitudes, and it's just difficult. It's just a difficult situation all across the board. So I don't know that there's any right answer.
So one thing that I will say and kind of add in is that, one, the Seattle zone in and of itself was absolutely something that was, you cannot just take over any land in the city and say, I'm going to sit here and take this over and make it mine. And regardless of what any vigilante in Atlanta wants to do, you can't do that. I regret that our city did not step in sooner and not allow that to happen. Because what we've actually done is feed into the narrative being perpetuated by Donald Trump and the federal government and the Republican Party that Black people are wanting to have lawlessness. The whole Black Lives Matter movement is an attempt to take over the government and to overthrow the control of the government. That is the narrative that was pressed all weekend by President Trump around the July 4th holiday, and then we see it being manifested, and we know it's not true, but we saw several instances of this over the course of the weekend. I think that's really unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. And unfortunately, I think that we're going to continue to see this play out over the course of the week ahead. In addition, we did talk about the fact that Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms does indeed have COVID-19. She said that she's asymptomatic, has not had any illness, and tested positive today. In addition to her testing positive for COVID-19 today, there was a weekend of negative commentary on social media about our mayor and a number of attacks, both coming from Republicans and conservatives, as well as her own Black community. What are your thoughts around our mayor's current state? Anyone can take it away. I'm going to mute myself because I think my mic is also adding to the feedback.
I'm going to say it's very unfortunate to have Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms catch COVID-19, but it just goes to pray that anyone can catch it. You're not, no matter your rank in whatever life is, it's going to get you. And unfortunately, her staff probably have to quarantine and all this other stuff. It's crazy. And I just want to tell people, just be safe and be like, COVID-19 is not going away anytime soon. This is our new reality, unfortunately, for a lot of us who have things going on, but we have to press forward and keep people safe.
I agree. Dr. Fauci the other day said that we are still knee deep in the first wave of COVID. So a lot of people, we've heard a lot about the second wave coming. We're not there yet. We're still in the first wave, and cases, 32 states have increased cases. Now, what we're not yet talking about is that we're about to walk straight into flu season, and then things are going to get real confusing and real difficult, and cases, infection rates, morbidity, mortality is just going to continue to go up and up. That's the truth.
You know, I feel in regards to Mayor Lance Bottoms, you know, my heart definitely goes out to her and all those that have been impacted and affected by this disease. I would just encourage her and, you know, her entire political party to continue to lead by example, even in the event that you have become infected by it. Still wearing your mask, still preaching the good practices and initiatives that you should do and the steps to take to still keep yourself out of the way, to still stay quarantined. And I hopefully with the stature that she has behind her name and her title, it'll give a wake-up call, hopefully, air quotes, to Governor Kemp. Because this is now a person that you work with in, the capital of your state that you govern, that is now affected by this disease, and it's been impacted because of you being, in my opinion, encouraged and pushed by Trump to push Georgia in opening too soon, as we're saying right now. So hopefully this will sort of, if he has any type of empathy and or integrity, would maybe help him sort of create some better solutions and tactics on how to govern the state in its totality as well.
Vince, do you really believe that the governor of this state cares about Keisha Lance Bottoms or any other Black person in the state?
You know what? I do not believe. That's why I said hopefully, air quotes.
Fair
Well, I
enough.
don't feel like they're trying to kill off the population. I would truly feel like they're trying to kill off the older people, because at the end of the day, why are we open? Why are the clubs open? As you can see, Arbor Avenue was full. People getting murdered. It's too much. And we have so much going on. It's not even funny anymore. The news is really sad to watch. The cases are steadily rising, and we're trying to find a way to open.
Well, CJ said we shouldn't have opened until October. Ryan, as a pharmacist, do you feel as though a delayed opening would have helped us with our COVID-19 cases, or do you feel as though it was unaffordable?
I think it would have helped a lot. I think that we would not be in the situation where we're in when we have 10,000 new cases per state every day. I think that, again, flu season's right around the corner. October is the middle of flu season. We probably should have pushed opening even further out.
Yeah.
Even if it means that our economy would have been significantly impacted to where that, again, people were losing jobs, people were on the verge of homelessness, on the verge of not being able to put food in their children's mouths. Do you think that the cost that we're now being faced with, this is open to all of us, warrant this to save our economy?
I think we have to determine if people's lives are more important than money. So, again, I say that we should have stayed closed, probably extended the unemployment benefits further out. I mean, there's a lot we could have done, but here we are with increased cases and probably in a worse situation than we were before quarantine opened back up.
I just feel like we should have really took heed when China and the other countries showed us what to do way before March. This virus looks like it's been here like around October of last year. Here go all year and the cases are rising. Unfortunately, we cannot shut down the country. I feel like we should all be trying to work from home, and that service providers should be up to the roof, because like being outside is just not safe. And now I saw an article where they saying masks are not safe to wear unless really need one. So it's just so much in the news. And like, I'm not by far, what I'm trying to use the word on healthcare like guru, but you hear so much on the news. What do you believe? Because you have one person on the science side saying don't wear a mask, then the other person on the science side says wear a mask. Like, what do we do?
You should wear a mask. This is what I believe, Ryan. You can kind of jump in and say what you think about it. Mm-hmm. And Rodney, I know we're also getting some feedback a little bit from your mic. I don't know why. So I'm gonna, if you're not speaking, mute yourself, and then when you get ready to speak, unmute. What it comes down to, and what I believe, is that this is a virus like every other virus. It's just that it's a specific type that we haven't encountered. So many of the same rules that apply to keeping ourselves healthy apply here as well. By drinking lots of water, getting lots of sleep, and keeping ourselves clean by washing our hands help. A mask will help keep you free from every virus and every disease out there. So it's never wrong to wear a mask. So I absolutely will wear it. I, again, wear gloves when I go into the store, because for me, gloves remind me not to touch my face. If I don't have gloves on, my eye will itch and I'm going to automatically want to scratch it. But when I have on gloves, I'm not going to touch my eyes, which is a key orifice for virus and germs to get inside of your body. So I think that makes a big difference. One thing also that we have had, we talk about our mayor now having COVID-19. We talk about the surge in cases in Georgia and the failure of our local government to protect us. But we have a new trend among college students, specifically at the University of Alabama, where they're having COVID-19 parties, wanting to infect each other or get the virus so that they will get it over with. Ryan, and for all of you out here, one, what do you think? But two, is this actually a good idea? I remember growing up having
The chicken pot
party.
Yeah.
So is this a good idea for young people?
I think absolutely not, because we know chicken pox, right? That's been around forever. We don't know COVID. So there's no evidence to say that if you catch it once, you're not going to catch it a second time 2 months later, So when I read this article, it just completely blew my mind. I mean, it is just 15% of the people who end up with COVID end up hospitalized, and then half of those end up on ventilators and end up dead. So for you to try to infect yourself is just irresponsible, it's negligent, and you're not just putting yourself at risk, you're putting your family at risk, whoever you're home with. You're putting the healthcare providers who have to treat you at risk. So it's not just you, and I don't think that that's a good idea or smart or anything.
Yeah, I wanted to hop on like it is. I think it's just stupid. Who go around trying to get the viruses? Like, it's just so much going on in the world. And so, like I said, when I read the news, it blows my mind. And then I read there where they were getting money, to where if you caught it, you get paid for it. So like, it's a couple of $100 worth of your life. Like, and even if you do not get sick, you can pass on to your loved one, your grandmother, your uncle, somebody you care about. So it's foolishness, is all I gotta say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's completely irresponsible. I just think that they're very bored, which is unfortunate right now. This is the wrong thing to do because you're bored, to be honest, especially I guess living in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I'm sure there's nothing to do in comparison to to Atlanta, if you will. It is what it is. But still, I just think it's very irresponsible. Like Rodney said, there's no amount of money that you could pay me to risk my life. And I feel like they just need to figure out something more productive and proactive to spend their time doing. Yeah.
I'm going to say this. I agree with everything that you guys are saying 100%. And hey, Mom, nice. I'm glad you're here. You're right. We don't know enough to play Russian roulette, like Corinthia said. But I cannot, like Candace said, blame these children, because in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, that is a huge Republican stronghold. They had the president come and speak multiple times. Like, they live and breathe what this man says. And when the president of the United States tells you to inject yourself with disinfectant, when the president of the United States of America tells you this is a hoax, it's like the flu, he is encouraging people to, you can get it and it's going to make you better in no time when you're young. These kids believe that. Like, they really do believe it. And can you blame children for believing what their president says? Like, honestly, think about what I'm saying. Can you blame children for believing what their president says?
What we're not gonna do is talk about stupidity. Sometimes you gotta have damn common sense. Right. Like, come on now. Like, I'm not going to. You have parents. You see the virus is real. If Jesus not come down and say, don't wear a mask, that's the only person I'm going to listen to. You're not Jesus. I'm going to protect myself. And that is unfortunate how strong a public figure or a political person or an artist or a figure can tell people to do stuff, and the amount of people would do it. That bothers me right there. Like, you cannot think for yourself. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I love Whitney Houston, but Whitney Houston jump off a bridge, I'm not going to do it. Like,
Rodney, Whitney's not gonna jump off a bridge. Whitney already dead.
You get what I'm saying.
And speaking of Whitney, Rodney, this past weekend, you had a lot of friends who came to Atlanta, and on Friday night they went to the club compound, and then they had no mask. There was a massive fight. We saw a man hit somebody over the head with a bottle twice, never broke the bottle. His very gentle, soft.
The sound effect of everything.
it didn't work. But then on the following Saturday, there was a giant pool party orgy at another compound in Atlanta that had, tons of black men and women all in the pool doing all kind of dancing and partying. And they both went viral this weekend. Friday night, it was Compound, the club. And then Saturday night, it was Compound Atlanta, a different pool party venue. They both went viral. Lots and lots of young black people at two different parties from two different walks of life. No mask, no protections. What do you think about your friends who did this?
Well, I'm going to say that your friends as well. We probably know somebody who's already there, unfortunately. But they fight every day at compounds, so that's nothing new to me. But I'm going to say this. If you want to risk your life out there and go out there to party at the club, who am I to tell you what to do? I don't pay your bills. I don't feed you. I don't claim you on my taxes. So if you want to go out there and not wear a mask and you feel like a party is that important to you, go. I feel like we at a point in time where I feel like people do what they want to do. I'm not here to force you to wear a mask. I'm not here to force you to do anything, but I feel like it's up to the venue to wear a mask. What's this Costco is doing? You can enforce your own rules for your own establishment. If that makes sense. So if you want to open a club and all this kind of stuff, just tell people to wear a mask. People are really bored. I'm bored. I'm not gonna lie, but I feel like you are going to risk going outside. Wear a mask.
And Candy said, it is Candace. If you go to Twitter and you see what's trending, it's going to say trending in Georgia Compound. And when you look at Compound, you will see what I saw happening in that swimming pool.
I wanted to hop in to add on to what Rodney said. Like I told you earlier in the conversation, I don't even think we were on the conversation yet, but I went to New Orleans this past weekend, and it was mandated citywide in any establishment. Bourbon Street was wide open. Walmart was open, the mall was open, everything was open, but you had to wear a mask. If you did not wear a mask, you were leaving or you were fined. And they had that poster boarded around every wall, every store window. So to Rodney's point, it is, or it should be up to the to who you say to the owner of the establishment. But I also feel like it needs to be a statewide mandate. And unfortunately, and I'm gonna just put it to you like this: it is a very sad day that this pandemic can become or has become politicized. You literally see night and day responses from a Democratic held state or city versus a Republican held state or city. You see Louisiana, New Orleans, who is ran, we have a Democratic mayor there, and she has the mandate up. But then when you go to Tuscaloosa and it's a Republican ran city, they're doing wild, crazy parties, trying to get infected and stuff like that. So the fact that this pandemic has become politicized, and to your point earlier, that the ultimate question is money larger than lives? I think in 2020, the year of clarity, what I have seen is that we are definitely, without a doubt, a capitalistic ran country. And unfortunately, money is the bigger thing. The economy is the bigger thing. We see it in Trump. Every time he has a response, he quickly runs away from the coronavirus talking points and goes straight into, well, the economy is doing better and this, that, and the third and stuff like that. So, I mean, we see it. So I don't want us to keep living in this fantasy, shoulda, coulda, woulda, maybe one day. No, this is what it is. So the gift of discernment and wisdom, and to your point, Rodney, your own common sense has to play a part. It has to be major and priority for you, because who can you believe? Yeah.
Candy, I want you to tell me. I don't know. I am not familiar with the compound. Is a compound where they
go away? Get away! Go away!
Rodney, I don't run the streets like you. I'm not your age. You know, I'm not.
Unfortunately, you know, we do have a 10-year difference, so that makes sense. When you was in my age, I was probably at home in college.
Well, we do have an age difference. So, Candy, is compound where they had the fight on Friday the same compound where they had the pool party orgy on Saturday? Do they have a pool at the compound?
No, compound does not have a pool. No.
Okay, it was different. Okay, different compound. It was different compound. So I believe that our mayor would implement a citywide mask ordinance, but the governor will not allow it and will not mandate it. The governor of Georgia came in and took away all the power of the municipalities earlier in the COVID crisis and has not given our cities back that authority. It is unfortunate, and it is really really concerning. So I want to bring up and show everybody this image. This was an image that was shown a lot over the weekend as well. It was a very full news weekend for us, and this went viral of the Black people moving around the United States in protest, defending their Second Amendment rights on Independence Day. Did you guys see this?
I saw it.
I loved it.
And I thought it was a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yes.
And I want to talk about it, and I really want our viewers to also chime in because it makes me I'm disgusted. But I want you guys to tell me about your perspective, and I'll say last. I'm gonna go right on the mute.
Zachary, you know, and sometimes I late time get
Yeah.
my nerves.
You know what, Rob? As a matter of fact,
because white people do it all the time.
That's what I was gonna say.
They walk around with machine guns, machetes, and all bazookas and all kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
So I feel like let a black person do this when a lot gonna change. When you see black, I promise you this: when black people start buying guns and rest to be carrying all that stuff, watch the laws change. Sometimes you gotta fight power, and I'm happy. I wish I was out there would have had my little 22 out there with them. So I'm happy they did that. I applaud them. Show them that we got guns too. We can carry just like you do. So come with it.
I 100% agree with that. I think white people do it every day, Zach. And
guess what? Ryan, Rodney, Vince, in no way do I say that white people don't do it. I am disgusted when I see anyone protesting and marching with assault rifles because I think that they should be banned. I believe that you should have a right to bear arms only to protect yourself. The concept of having these assault weapons that are absolutely beyond what a normal civilian should have is absolutely criminal. I don't agree with it for anybody. But let me tell you why I go even further to say this is disgusting. Not only do I not agree with it, but this is disgusting to me because I believe that it plays into a national rhetoric that is extremely dangerous to the American democracy at this time. President Donald Trump is at a historic low in the polls. Let me tell you even further what that means. I did research this weekend. Since 1940, every single president elected has been, at this point in the year, very consistently accurate with polls. There's only been one case where the person who was projected to win did not win by July, and that was Truman, who defeated Dewey. But in every other case, from Carter beating Ford, from Reagan beating Carter, from Clinton beating Bush, it has been, and from Obama beating McCain, every single one. It's been consistently on accurate. Donald Trump knows he is not going to win. So he has decided to double down on the rhetoric of hate. I listened to his speech on Friday night where he said that social justice was code word for left fascism. When you talk about that, and now he's saying that Black Lives Matter is a terrorist movement, that Black people want to oppress white people, and social justice wants to re-educate kids, this image supports that narrative. We are not going to, in any way, be able to defeat the rhetoric of hate with more hate. even if it's
But
not
I'd
hate.
rather be protected when they show up at my house.
I'm going to mute myself in a moment. When I finish my point, I'm going to mute myself, Rodney, and you can say whatever it is that you want to say. But my point is, we are not going to win any battles. We're not going to win any elections if we are going to let people like Donald Trump divide us and then let people come back and perpetuate the narrative. Let me give you a final example. I believe that these people were paid. I believe that people are being paid to do some of the things they're doing to feed into what Donald Trump wants white people in America to see. Because we are not going to get Joe Biden in any White House and Donald Trump out of it with this type of behavior. I'm done, Rodney. You guys can have it away.
I'll just say that this was a very peaceful protest. Zach, I 100% agree with what you say. Assault rifles are for nothing but killing people. And I think that they should be banned, but I think that we have historically had to be the bigger person. I feel like white people do it and their guns are not going anywhere. So why can't we have a peaceful demonstration showing our Second Amendment rights as well? It was a peaceful demonstration. When people were passing by the cars, they were saying, Black love, Black Lives Matter. It wasn't anything. Nobody was aggressive. It was very peaceful. All they did was walk around the mountain, I think. So I thought it was a beautiful sight. I do agree that assault rifles are just unnecessary, but it is what it is. They're not going anywhere.
But I feel, and this is another thing too. Let's go back to Massive House. Every time a Black person do something that a white person do, it's always looked down upon and frowned upon like you shouldn't be doing it. And that kills me. And when it goes to Donald Trump is not an idiot, as most people want to say he is. He's doing something to get votes. That man, I feel like he's very strategic in what he's doing. He know he needs to say to do to get these votes coming up because he see he's losing. So now he's going to say everything for these racist white folks who he trying to get to vote for him. Oh, Black Lives Matter, terrorist movement. Oh, the Black folks got a gun. Oh, Black folks. He's not. I feel like he's not done when it comes to that. He might be done when it comes to his businesses moves and all that stuff, but he know he knows he have to say to get his votes. He even said it back in 1998 that if I run Republican Party, because they don't believe everything I say. It's proven that this is how he feels. And I'm just gonna say, Black people, bring your guns, do what you want to do. It's peaceful. You did not kill anybody. Nobody got shot. Carry your weapons. Now, do I believe people walk around with bazookas and all that stuff? No. But I feel like every Black person needs a gun, Zach, and I hope you have a gun so somebody come rob you in your house. I hope you ain't gonna throw pillows at them. Get out! Like, what you gonna do?
I'm gonna pepper them with prayer. I'm gonna pepper them with prayer and the love of the Lord. Okay. I am not saying that Black people should not bear arms. I am not saying that Black people should not even protest with weapons. But I'm saying that the exact same way, Zach Thomas, that I was disgusted when I saw the white protesters carrying guns against Governor Whitmer in Michigan is the exact same response I had when I saw Black people. I'm not going to say I'm proud. I'm happy to see these Black men carrying these guns and the Black women strapped up with their machine guns ready to take them down when I don't feel that way when I see white people. It's the exact same thing. I have the exact same response to white people and their assault weapons as I have to these Black people and their assault weapons. And across the board, we don't need that in America, period.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% about the fact that we have weapons of war allowed in the streets of America. Like that's a no-go. I know that was a big debate even during the Parkland shooting. When we had the school shootings and stuff like that, that was a big thing with the NRA and all the students were rallying together. Why are these killers and these teenagers having assault rifles and assault weapons coming into our schools? So I definitely agree with the argument of wanting assault weapons banned. Speaking towards the visual, I really wasn't surprised. Often we say history repeats itself. It reminded me of the Black Panther movement back in the civil rights movement. I truly believe that we have right now in the 2020 age, you have your peaceful protesters, you have your Martin Luther Kings, if you will, on one side, and I think the Black Panther image and energy and initiatives are starting to to uprise right now in our country. And again, history repeats itself. So I wasn't shocked at all. It makes sense, complete sense to me.
I agree with what Rodney said. Once we start doing what the white people do, the laws are going to change for sure.
Well, a number of us really want to do what the white people do, and they want to do what the white people do on a whole nother level of doing what white people do. One of those people is this man, Herman Cain, who went to the rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma in favor of Donald Trump, and now he is fighting for his life in an Atlanta hospital suffering from COVID-19. I want to know what you gentlemen think about Black Republicans who are still supporting President Trump. Your honest opinions. And this has been a big issue on my Facebook all week. I just want to know what you gentlemen think. And then we'll turn over each of you for your topics.
I think it's unfortunate. I don't wish COVID-19 on anyone. I mean, he is somebody's father. I'm just gonna keep it real. There's somebody's dad. But like I said, when you put yourself in a situation where you catch COVID-19, like what do you expect? That's what I'm saying. Like it could have been anyone out there.
Are you praying for him, Rodney? Are you praying for him?
I pray for anybody who caught COVID-19 because I don't want to see anybody die.
Are you praying for Herman Cain?
I hope he get a speedy recovery. I really do.
Are you praying? Are you saying, dear
I
God,
hope he get a speedy recovery.
Well,
like this is how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we hate to see it. He's a 74-year-old man, so I mean, you just gotta use your common sense. He's in a crowd. Ain't nobody in that 6 feet apart. So I mean, it is what it is. I hate to see it. I hope he makes it through. But gotta use your common sense.
Yeah, I hate to see it as well. I offer the same condolences to him as I did with Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms. I don't want anyone to lose their life. That's just me. However, to speak to your question about Black Republicans, I don't think about them. To be honest, Herman McCain, what's her name, Candace Owens, just that whole group of them. It's very interesting, and sometimes I do sort of research their opinions and their stances on things, and it's very, very, very unfortunate that either they have been paid for an excessive amount of years to just really fully cultivate this belief in what they spew out, literally sometimes against their own community, our own community, and our own culture. And because there's so much what I feel just dishonesty and how they just support the hatred, the blatant hatred, like the factual hatred that comes against our culture, is like I don't even give it energy. That is a spirit that I do pray against. I will say, if there's any type of prayer that I do, is that they get some type of something in their mind. It's crazy. It's crazy. They crazy.
I agree with that. I don't give it much thought. This reminds me, whenever I think of Black Republicans, I think of Diamond and Silk from when Trump first started running. So it's just a mess. It's just a circus, and there's really no point in spending any brain cells on it. These people are, like Vince said, might be paid. Who knows? So there's always going to be somebody.
You gentlemen are
in
extremely
the words
kind.
of my grandmother, Winnie R. Neely, all money ain't good money.
You guys, you're right. I mean, you guys are very kind. All of our viewers are very kind on the live cast tonight. I am not going to wish ill on anyone, including Herman Cain. But I will say this. When you, just like Jared said, when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. This man went to the rally. This man chose not to wear a mask. This man has now become infected with COVID-19, is now in the hospital taking up space for someone who has done everything right and has gotten COVID-19 of no fault of their own. I think about our healthcare workers who go to work every single day and have to take care of Herman Cain. Those people are putting their lives at risk to take care of him. And then they may become infected with COVID-19, take it home, infect their partners and spouses, infect their children, infect their parents, all because Herman Cain chose to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma and support President Trump, who's a white supremacist who wants to see him diminished. Because if you support a white supremacist, you too are a white supremacist. And yes, you can be black and be a white supremacist. And Herman Cain is a perfect example of that. Every single black person in this country who is supporting Donald Trump is supporting white supremacy. So I don't feel any way sympathetic or empathetic or anything else to Herman Cain when people who are doing everything they can right coming down with COVID-19 and probably even losing their lives. Herman Cain, shame on you, and you don't have the right to take one single ventilator up.
Well, unfortunately, when you take the medical oath, you have to help people. That's what you sign up for. We have a lot of people who stupid stuff, but unfortunately, you have to help them. So I'm not going to act like, it is his fault for going out there. Nobody told him to go out there. He went on his own. So unfortunately, he caught the virus. But what I'm not going to do is wish death on anybody, because sometimes I might say I don't. This is how I
don't wish ill on him.
You just say he taking up hospital beds. I mean, he's sick. He's supposed to go to the hospital. There's like somebody who got throat cancer for being a smoker. So the country being a smoker, but if you not being helped, did you call cancer? Like, I'm just, I'm fair when it comes to aspect. This is how I feel. Just like when you kill somebody in a murder case, you have to have a fair trial. Even though you dead ass wrong, you murdered this person, you still have to have a fair trial. Unfortunately, that's a job that you sign up for, and you have to help people. This is how I feel.
Rodney, when you catch cancer, you have done, and for 90% plus of cancers, you have done nothing to catch the cancer. For many people who are contracting COVID-19, they have done what they should have done to be protected. Herman Cain chose to go to a Donald Trump rally, sit like this, side by side with his fellow Republicans, and not wear a mask. He made a choice in this matter that anybody with cancer, they didn't make the choice to have cancer.
I said when you are smoking, let me say this again. When you are smoking, you have a risk of catching cancer. It's on the box. So, therefore, if you catch cancer from smoking, so you not receive help when you know the risk you are taking. Same for this man. He took a risk for going to the rally. He knew.
Are you saying that I'm killing Herman Cain?
The rally. So he has to be helped.
I am not wishing ill on Herman Cain. I'm not, Candace. I'm not, Rodney. And Brandy wants us to talk about should schools reopen as we're now talking about COVID. Ben.
Okay, I want to chime in real quick before we head to the school subject. What I really feel just in regard to the entire Republican Party, especially with that visual of the Tulsa rally, the Trump Tulsa rally, I feel like the Republicans are loyal to a fault. That is one thing that I will say that the Republican Party is adamant in. They will back whoever is up. They could. I mean, we're living in it right now. Trump is saying anything, and these people, the party of values, the party of spirituality of Jesus, the party of Jesus, right? That's what they represent. They stand on, quote unquote, the evangelical party, quote unquote. I'm just saying this is them. This is what they have.
Don't repeat that false narrative because they are not the party of Christianity.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And so when you look at that visual of just the entire arena, especially the black people that were represented, they're just loyal to a fault, and that the party of values, the party of Jesus, quote unquote, Jesus wouldn't do that. Values wouldn't do that. And the fact that we have, and you know what, even me watching The View sometimes, with Meghan McCain being on there's some stuff that she does say that I do sort of agree with in terms of just Republican versus Trumplicans. And I feel like the Trumplican party is just past that whole a ship at a realm right now, and the Republicans, the true quote unquote Republicans, are just following suit. And I feel like because of their loyalty, and I feel like it is so unfortunate because people are dying and people are putting themselves in risky situations all for whatever, you know. So I just wanted to put that out there.
And going back to what Zach said, this is a good point. Zach, I'm not saying that I didn't say every Republican was a white supremacist, but I am saying that everyone who supports Donald Trump is a white supremacist. Now, so don't take off the Republican part, but yes, if you support Donald Trump, you are a white supremacist. If you support a white supremacist, you are a white supremacist. He is doubling down on his rhetoric. Lives Matters being a terrorist organization. He is doubling down on this man literally said that social justice education was an effort by fascists to indoctrinate children against their country. That is hateful, dangerous, Adolf Hitler speech that is being put on the American people. And it is absolutely inexcusable. If you don't call it what it is, then you are a part of the problem. And thank you, Sojourner. The daughter of Sojourner Truth herself has come on here to say there is no gray area. But I am done, gentlemen. I'm going to let you guys, each one, or whatever topics that you have on the agenda, throw them out there. And then also our viewers share your agendas and thoughts. Brandy wants to know about, Zach says we got white supremacist Democratic Party. I don't doubt that we do. I don't know them, and it won't be good enough for me in January when they take office. That's when I'm going to hold them accountable. But right now, they don't have the power to impact my life just yet. And so once they do, I'll call them out too. Brandy wants to know, gentlemen, about your thoughts about people going back to school. We all know that we have families who are impacted by this decision. What are your thoughts about our children going back to school in the era of COVID-19?
It's too early to go back to school. Who is it? Gwinnett County, I think, is thinking about starting August 3rd. DeKalb is thinking about putting it off till September. I think we just need to kind of wait it out. It's just uncomfortable for everybody to stay home and do the online learning, but it is what it is. We have to think about people's lives first and foremost. We, again, are still in the first wave of COVID. We don't know where this thing is going in 2 months. So kids are nasty. They're going to be touching stuff. They're not going to wear their masks throughout the day. They're going to bring whatever they have home to grandma and to their parents, and we're going to be in an even worse situation. I think we just need to kind of stick to what we're doing right now, online learning, distance learning, and we'll cross that bridge later.
I agree with what Ryan said. It's too early. My niece, I had a conversation with her. She's going to Mississippi State for school. I know that it's with USM. But anyway.
You need to make a post and tag her to me so I can make sure that I get her something very special for her beginning college experience to stay in touch with her. Since my own family shunned me and disrespected my legacy by not going to Mississippi State yet, I will now adopt your niece since my niece didn't go. I'll adopt your niece. So she will be now my legacy and heir at the Mississippi State University, home of the Bulldogs.
Well, I want to say this. Honestly, like I said, niece, I feel like it's too soon. Unfortunately, we raise our children to believe anything they want to have, they can get. This narrative I got when I was raised. You got an education, do what you want. Sometimes you have to sit your ass down. That's how I feel. And this is the time you need to sit your ass down. Because it's like Ryan, it's the first wave. It's not even flu season. Can you imagine flu season? And like people are nasty. Everybody do not wash their hands. I used to work in corporate America where I used to go in the bathroom and see people who made more money than me to get out and not wash their hands. So I would hate for kids, even from preschool on up to daycares, keep your children at home. Let them get on the computer because this is not going anywhere anytime soon. And I just feel like we have to protect our babies. And my niece, she feel like she's grown now, but she's still my baby. And I don't want her to go off to college to go get on a ventilator. That's how I feel.
Two things on my end. I do agree that it is too soon for schools to reopen. However, I feel like the government, the state, those educational departments need to figure out some practices and some solutions for families that have multiple kids and all their kids may be representing multiple grades and they may be raised by a single mother and she only has one computer and she may be working from home herself. So how do I now have three kids, a fourth grader, a seventh grader, and an 11th grader, and I'm a single mom and I have to do work at home and I don't have three additional laptops? Another viewer was talking about, the arts, choir kids, band kids, orchestra kids, drama students, FBLA, civics classes, all this stuff like that, where you do need to, it will be more beneficial rather for you to be in person to conduct those courses. I'm a band geek. I was in a band, I was in a choir, all that stuff like that. And so when you are now having this huge section of students that are really going to be impacted in terms of just expressing themselves and in the arts and then wanting to pursue things like music education when they get into college and stuff like that, then that could even suffer the artistic colleges and universities and stuff. So I'm really looking at it from the long term. So I'm hoping that the educational department are finding solutions for those parents that have, again, multiple grade levels, multiple kids that are struggling to make ends meet and can't, divvy up the computer time, and also making sure that the kids that are represented in the arts are taken care of as well.
Can I say something, DeAndre? I learned how to turn on a computer way back in 2004. It is 2020. I feel like every child, hopefully, I'm not a teacher, but every child now should learn how to use a computer. If you don't, I feel like it should be somewhere where they can go on a website and learn. There's plenty of learning things out there where you can learn and teach a child how to do it. And sometimes, unfortunately, the teachers are not in the classroom. If you are a child with a parent with a child, sit with your child, help your child learn. That's how I feel.
Right.
Let me finish. This is how I feel. If I had a child and I wasn't the best, whatever, I would sit down with my child and make sure that we are learning this together. Because right now, it's not going to be the same. It's not. We just talked about. Wait. We just talked about Mr. Clan for going to a rally because they were foolish and stupid. So why is that same thinking is not for school? It's stupid to go to school right now. It's the virus. You're going to catch it.
Rodney, you listen, I got two things to say. Number one, I was waiting for somebody in the chat or on this line, Ryan or Vince, to one say, did you equate washing your hands to financial income? Earlier, you said you went into the bathroom and you've seen people make more money than you wash your hands. So basically, you're saying that if you are poor,
I said they did not wash their hands.
I just wanted to point that out before going to my real point. Rodney, not every family can afford the luxury of internet access or computers. We are living in a world where many Black and brown kids and many poor white kids exist, and their families can't afford laptops. They weren't born with laptops.
It should be provided.
Can't afford it.
We pay tax for kids to have access to internet. So I feel like there is a solution. So for the parents who don't have it, give it to them.
How much do you pay for internet service?
Like $60.
And there are some families that don't have the luxury in the era of COVID-19 to be able to pay.
People, hell, if I gotta give $30 every month for a child to get internet, I would do that. Like I would sacrifice my life to make sure the children are learning. If like it's ways around it, we lose $200 on account of money right now in a Pentagon. You're telling me we can't find money to give kids access to the internet? Like I'm not all for the riffraff. It's ways for children to get to get internet services. This is how I feel. Now, if you don't agree with it, it's fine. But it's
in the era of COVID-19. The federal government, every state should ensure that every state has education and the Wi-Fi and all they need for online and distance learning. But that hasn't happened. And until that happens, we cannot expect children to learn and be held accountable in an online environment. However, with that being said, it is not safe for educators to return to school. And we need urgent assistance to be provided to ensure that it becomes an era where kids can learn online. Or so I believe. We got a lot of comments here. One, Clayton was like, Clayton, CJ, I didn't say what I had to say. Rodney, do you feel like I let you have it? I don't think I let you have it.
So, I don't really care if people start saying the comments. That's how I feel. You know how I feel. And at the same time, I have family. I have people in my life. I have people I care about. I have a nephew who's bad as hell. And I feel it is what it is. But at the same time, I don't want my nephew to go to school because I don't want him to get sick. So I feel like it needs to be a way where children can get access to the internet and sit there and learn. And if you can't do that, sit down with your child and do something. I don't understand that. Like, if I had to adopt my nephew, if something happened to my brother-in-law, my sister, unfortunately, God, hope they don't happen, and I was not good at teaching them something, I will at least try to apply myself so my nephew can learn something.
But Rodney, every parent isn't you, and it's a massive sacrifice. And then Candace even said that we are living in the worst financial times in the history of our lifetimes, and we may not be affected by it, and we may not realize it, but we are. We're living in really challenging financial times, and we have to acknowledge that. Public education.
With you working in the educational field, what would you recommend, honestly, Zach?
So this is definitely with so many of my friends are being educators. Brandy's one of my former students. Always been a sweetheart. I remember when Brandy and Jared both moved to the school that I taught in, because they both were students they're not natives, Vince, like you, natives of Atlanta. They moved into the school in the community, and God placed them in my class and in my life. Rodney, I want to see children go back into school, but it should not happen. I believe that children need to be in school for the social and emotional learning and growth that happens. Children, we are isolated. We are going stir crazy. We are really struggling, but we are in control of our own destiny, space, and livelihoods for the most part. Children are not. Children are dependent on their parents, and a lot of things that we can choose to do, they have no choice in the matter. A lot of homes have a lot of issues, and those issues are being exacerbated during this crisis time. For a lot of kids, school is the escape. School is the refuge, and all of that's been taken away from them. So I'm very concerned about the mental health of children and the mental well-being of children. So I want them to be in school. I also understand that what our government has done to families is unfair and is absolutely criminal. If I am a single mother, as I have to go to work every day to earn a living, I then have to leave my child at home unattended and in fear of what could happen to my child when he or she is at home. In addition to that, I'm not only going to work, worrying about my child being safe at home, I then have to worry about my child getting a quality education while I'm gone so that their future isn't at stake. All of these things are unfair and could have been mitigated by a number of things to make it better. Number one, it could have been mitigated by federal assistance that would have given every family who did not have computer access a computer and then free Wi-Fi access. To be honest with you, I don't understand why Comcast and AT&T and any other internet provider isn't giving internet free during the COVID crisis until the COVID crisis can be alleviated. That would have been the right thing for these companies to do, but they didn't do it. The federal government, as they are passing different legislation, should have done that. I saw that your future president, Kanye West, received a $2.5 billion small business loan for his Yeezy shoes, while Kim Kardashian is sitting up here pumping up more stuff in that body that she called that body she calls the body. I don't know, that whatever that thing is that she lives in, called the body. If we got $2.5 billion to give to Kanye West, $5 billion in giving kids who don't have internet access. That is why it is essential to have watchdogs in Washington and people appointed, like what the Democrats put over the bill in the first place that the man Donald Trump fired. We have to get this man out of office and ensure that people who have the heart for service are there, because what we have now isn't. And we have no one to blame but ourselves, because we're going through a crisis with someone in the White House who is ill-equipped to handle it. I'm finna mute. You guys take it away. I've said a lot in one breath. You guys have to unmute.
I'm going to let y'all talk, and I still stand where I say, like I said earlier, and Zach even touched on it. We have money allocated for all kind of stupidness. Well, I feel like we can allocate money towards educational things, and that's just how I feel. And I'm not entitled, so I don't care about what that was said. At the same time, I have a niece who has a newborn as well, just like Brandy. I have family who are teachers. I have family who are kids who are affected by this. It's both sides. So just because I don't have a child, don't make me qualified to speak. That's dumb. Because a lot of psychologists, people write books and stuff, write about children and all this other stuff, and don't have one child. So I don't care about that. However, I do want to see kids learning, and I feel like we can find a way to find money that every child can have access to the internet. Period.
So I agree with all that. I'm not surprised though that we're in the situation we're in. Schools have always should have been allocated more money than they have. School districts, there's no reason that teachers should be buying their own pencils and school supplies for their children. That should never be the case. So no, it's not really shocking that we're here, and a lot of families don't have access to what they need to teach their own children, don't have the resources that they need. I completely agree that Comcast, AT&T, places like that should be providing free Wi-Fi to families, but I really don't think that there's a quick solution or a quick right answer. There's just, you're right, there are a lot of affluent kids who have, people who are in the home to teach them, but there are also a lot of people who are being raised by single parents and don't have anyone home. And like you said, school is the escape, and they're home, and it's sad, and it's an unfortunate situation, and I don't know what the quick right answer is, but this is the situation we're in.
I think because we know, given the times that we're living in right now, it'll be a miracle in the event Betsy DeVos or Donald Trump does anything to address this matter. It'll be a miracle sent from heaven, okay? So right now, because this is a upcoming issue, a very soon and upcoming issue that we'll have to face once August and September comes around, in the event that schools are not back open, it is now time for the community to be proactive, and we have to now rise and make sure that we are being accountable and looking out for our neighbors. If I know that there is a single mother down the street, and if I may have two kids and I have the extra laptop, or if my son is in the same class as your daughter, and your daughter, whatever the case is, we're going to have to band and pull together, because it's not going to happen. It's not going to be given to us. And so I think right now it's time for us to just lean on other parents, lean on our local teachers, and figure out how, as a community, we can tackle this. Because from the national level and the state level, I just really feel like, to your point, Ryan, that help may not come. That solution may not come tomorrow, but we cannot sit and let just Black and brown people continue to be just affected now even more. We already got a pandemic, we already got social justice. Now you about to say my kids are about to be less knowledgeable because of situations that are out of my control. So as a Black and brown community, we're really going to have to own up and reach out and make sure that our children are straight. Sacrifice, collaboration, being creative, getting with the recreational centers, getting in virtual labs, keeping these kids 6 feet apart. I don't know what, practices we can do, but those conversations really need to start like tonight.
Vince, that was great. I agree 100%. And that's something that that I'm thinking in terms of, like, how do you really do it? How are you going to really be able to support kids? One thing that you said, one thing I have learned about you tonight, and we talked about earlier, like you're a really amazing Blacktivity virtual conference, and that's how I saw you. And you created this on Instagram. It was really, really phenomenal, and people were, really engaged around the moment. And you used your voice, use your platform to grow the community and to engage the community around real issues that are affecting us. But you have a lot of faith in the powers that be. You said Betsy DeVos has done nothing for education ever. And she never will. She never will. Bessie ain't gonna do it. Trump ain't gonna do it. Brian Kemp. They don't care about us.
Correct. And maybe I don't know if the internet connection jumbled up when I was making that point, but that's why I said it will be a miracle in the event that happens. I have no faith. I have zero faith in the powers that be right now. So that's why I'm so passionate about making sure that the community and the village comes together and that we are being accountable and that we're not sitting in a place of selfishness and of pride or assumption, thinking that your neighbor has it all together when they don't. We are sitting in a place of selfishness, of pride, and assumption that we can't get out of our own way and making sure that Sister Cheryl and Brother Earl and whoever, whatever, is well and okay when they may not be. So we're going to have to rise to the occasion and start having these difficult conversations. We're going to have to get on the phone, call these people that have kids. If you're so passionate about it, I got 2 extra laptops. One may have a shortage. You got to, rig it up a little bit just to make sure it keep a charge, whatever the case is. Like, we got to make this stuff happen, even if we got to do a laptop drive, whatever the case is, to make sure that these people are being equipped. So again, these our black and brown communities are now not having to lack in the educational matter come around time whenever school is supposed to come back in. We got to own that.
I will wholeheartedly agree with that. I feel like it's something where we all can come together as a black community. We talk about black power, black this. Let's see what we really look out for each other, because right now we are in a crisis where the school system is not the answer. So we need to lean on our churches, our community centers, or anything like that to get these babies back in school. Even if you have a community center, or you just have a way where I say like 10 kids a day or 6 feet apart. I feel like it's something we can do to get kids to back like some type of normalcy. That makes sense. Like, I'm not here for this talk. I'm about action as well. So whatever I need to do on my part in my community, I'm down to do it.
Absolutely. We got plenty of empty churches now that, got Wi-Fi, you can easily fit 30 kids in there, 6 feet apart with supervision. I don't, this is a prime opportunity for us to come together. I completely agree with Vince.
So, we've had a full show. What are some of the other topics and issues that are burning, gentlemen, on your minds to share out tonight?
It really, I don't know if y'all touched on this, I was driving, but it really sat in my heart when I saw that 8-year-old girl die due to that stuff. And I understand police brutality is wrong, it's devastating. But I want to talk quickly. Have anyone ever seen Tales from the Hood? It was a horror film back in the 90s. No? Nobody saw Tales from the Hood?
I saw that movie.
Okay, so do you remember the part when this black dude who was in the game, right? And he was shooting against black people, killing his own kind. And this black lady who was an angel was telling him, hey, you're doing the same thing the KKK did back in the day. Like, yeah, they hung us, they shot us up, but now you shooting your own brother for stepping on your shoe. You shooting your own brother for standing on the block. Like, we have to hold our own kind accountable. And that's just how I feel. And we can't expect nobody else to respect our house if we don't respect our house, if that makes sense. And yes, I'm all here because police brutality is wrong. But when my child, again, for these people in the community, when your child can't walk in New Orleans down the street to go play at a swing and worry about getting shot by a drive-by, that's an issue. When your child can't walk the streets of Chicago to go to somebody and wear the wrong color and get jumped, that's an issue. I feel like we as a black community need to do better. And if you have not watched Tales from the Hood, please watch that what's the last one, Zach? I want to say, or next to the last one. But
I watched it when I was in high school. As you pointed out earlier, how old I was. I watched it in high school. It was way back in the day, so I haven't rewatched it. But I'm glad you said it because there are people on this line who have made fun of me, and they don't think that I watch our films by black producers and writers and directors. Because I didn't watch BAPS, and there's a few things I haven't seen, but I have seen Tales from the Hood.
Oh, thank you.
Right. You know, Rodney, but Rodney, I cannot let you go with that. Based on what you talked about last week, you were talking about police brutality and how we need to defund the police. If Mayor Bottoms would have gone, and this is what the criticism is of her online right now, people are saying, had she rushed in and removed those people from University Avenue and not let them take up shop, that young girl, Sequoia, I think that's how her name is pronounced, would be here today. But because we have a push to defund the police, and she did not want to come down hard on the community, you have a record amount of violence.
We can't have every day, and now we're in a situation where we don't have kids who should have probably had laptops way back many years ago.
Protect the city.
I don't feel like it's you to defund the police. We can defund everything else. We can defund the police, period. So we can defund education, where we all see right now this coming. Education matter, but we can take and take and take and take and take. But the first time we talk about defund the police, it's an issue. Like, I don't understand that. Make it make sense to me, Zach. I'm for real. Make it make sense. We can take money from education, from school who had all those books from 1999. It's 2020. You get what I'm saying? I was in school and I had a book back from 1978. So we can take education money from them, but the first time I say defund the police is an issue. I don't agree with that.
You had a book from 1978 when you were in high school because the white people in Mississippi did not want you to have an updated education. They believe that you guys are still segregated. Okay, that's why you had an old book. But in regards to defunding the police, you cannot have adequate city control from a police department meant to protect us if they don't have the funds to do it. That's what it means. And to me, that's why I'm against the movement, and that's why it makes sense. Ryan, Ben, no one's going to agree with me. Jamel says, I love Rodney, but take it away.
Okay, my understanding of defunding the police, I think that's a weird way to put it. I think
so. Call it what it is. Stop calling it defund the police and call it what it really should be called.
What it is transferring the funding from the city and town, from the county and township level to the state level. So once it's under the state, once all the police departments have to function under the state, you get a more consistency. So things that we determine are violations of people's rights, it's not from county to county to make that decision. It's under the state. So once you violate those rules, that's the end of your career. So I'm for defunding the police from the counties and putting it under the state. I think that allows for more consistency.
Ryan, what you have happening right now in Atlanta is you have a governor who has come in and get points from President Trump, the Republican Party, to say that Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, a black female in this city who runs the city, isn't equipped to handle the black violence the city has now created over the weekend. So he has deployed the Georgia National Guard in our city to get the city under control, to get these black people under control. And you're telling me that the police should be under this government? I think we get caught up in the rhetoric that's out there around what's the popular movement. I do not believe in defund the police. And DeAndre, I know what defund the police means. I know what it means. I agree with what Ryan said in the very beginning. It's about reallocating resources. And so the right term would be to do, it's called police reform. It's called reforming the criminal justice system. It's about taking money that is being put in the wrong place, militarization of police, over-arming of police, over-weaponization of police, over-policing the black community. And instead of using that money to do those things, you use that money for the mental health care of our officers. You use that money to ensure that you have incentive programs so that you have white cops living in black neighborhoods and black cops living in white neighborhoods, so people can be a part of invested communities and they get to learn and know who each other are. And they don't see people as criminals or not. That's what it's really meant to be. But so call it what it is. Don't call it defund the police if it's not really defunding the police, because what you do when you do that is you feed into a narrative that is counterproductive to progressive movement forward, or so I believe.
So what do you call that taking money from education? Defund education? Because it happens all the time.
Rodney, I am not saying that education is funded across America adequately, but in a lot of places, specifically in Metro Atlanta, education is well funded. And I'm going to leave it at that.
I have a question. So, in regards to the 8-year-old that lost her life, was it confirmed that that was due to, or was that black on black, if you will, or was that was black on black? Okay, cool. So I just wanted to hop in where Rodney was touching on earlier. Again, 2020, year of clarity. I feel that in this movement of Black Lives Matter and us wanting equality and marching against police brutality and all these things, rightfully so, I'm with it. However, it has literally just burst this huge thing open upon our own community, basically to where, like we used to say, you don't sweep over, what is it? Don't sweep your own porch before you sweep off mine, whatever that terminology is. Like, we as black and brown people gotta dot our I's and cross our T's as well. Okay, we can't keep on trying to push the conversation and push the needle. And yes, white supremacy exists. Yes, we need police reform. Yes, police brutality exists. And then we're still, as black and brown people, buying in and operating in the same behavior as these other people are claiming ourselves to do and claiming ourselves to be. And that's honest. That's completely honest. I feel like, back to that village conversation, back to that community conversation, we got to be accountable of our own. We got to call our brothers and call our uncles and call our nephews. Hey, if we got people in our family that are behaving in this violent manner, that are used to being in criminal behavior, and they're out and about, whatever the case is, whatever it is, like, we got to hold these people accountable and making sure that they are not being a part of these drive-bys, because we see what these random bullets are doing. You're taking away babies' lives and stuff like that. So our community, we now have to take some ownership on our end and making sure that our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed. So furthermore, these other people, white supremacists and the government and the Trumplicans and stuff like that, we won't give them any leeway to keep, adding fuel to the fire, if that makes any kind of sense. So I definitely agree what Rodney was saying. It's very unfortunate that she lost her life. Nobody should lose their life. I mean, and that even goes to the whole Chicago situation. Why is there always multiples amount of shootings and killings and murders that happen in Chicago on a daily basis? And that's black on black as well. And so when Trump makes these comments about Chicago and black on black crime and stuff like that, we haven't dotted our I's and crossed our T's as well in that manner either. So we got to take accountability and ownership and make sure that we are providing solutions and practices to digress those these statistics that are going on around about our own community.
And also, basically, I'll say this: I seen my family members give quicker to somebody for bail than to help pay somebody college education. And I'm gonna call my own family out. Like, you get what I'm saying? We so quick to get cousin Jimmy out of jail. He right here said to crack the children, whoever else. But cousin Louise is going to college for the first time. We can't give him a dime. Make it make sense.
So there's a lot of great discussion that's coming up. I want to say, Brandy, I agree with you that police officers should police their own communities, but I do believe those communities should be diverse. So I have a former student who is a white police officer, and under the way that things work, he was able to get a home loan in the neighborhood. That has truly been a paradigm shift for him to live in the neighborhood where he polices, but to be in an environment that he wasn't used to being around. It has given him understanding of his community. And so when he sees people out, he sees them as they are, not how he may have been taught or conditioned to see them by society in a racist world in which we live. I think that program has been very beneficial. I hope that it can continue. I firmly support and believe that. In addition to that, you talk about, really want to answer this question very quickly, that the reason why, in my opinion, the George Floyd protest was so well received, we all looked at it and we didn't turn away. And I think that was one of the few benefits of COVID-19, DeAndre wanted to also share about defund to adequate pay. We'll pause here and then go to what Jared said. and I'm going to open the floor for all of you guys to also share in. Again, you cannot reform the police without funds. You cannot reform the police without funds. You cannot say that police need to change what they do if you don't put money in to train them. You cannot say police have to do a better job of dealing with their anger issues or their implicit bias issues if you don't give them mental health and support. And you cannot do that for free. So when I do not want them to be defunded, and I don't want them to have less money. I want them to have more money, and I want them to use that money adequately. Open floor.
Agreed. More money for proper vetting, first of all. Extensive background checks. We need to really research these people who we hire as police officers first. Sensitivity training, mental health screenings, mental health training. You're right. We need more money for the police. And I think that we'll be better off in the long run for it.
I just feel like the whole system, the whole policing system just needs to be just uprooted, to be honest, because just historically, we have to remember why the police were even birthed. They were slave catchers. And that toxicity, that seed, that spirit lives in the policing today. So regardless of how much money, defund, refund, she should have fund, he should have fund, whatever the case is, that spirit and that initiative still exists. That is the platform and the root of why police came to be in American existence, okay? So until that is addressed and until that is fully vetted out and cleaned, then we still have the potential for that snake and that spirit to just still finesse and maneuver its way around the entire nation, and maybe for the next generations to come may have a whole nother social justice, Black Lives Matter Part 3 kind of situation again. So I'm with it. I'm with I'm with reforming, my apologies, the police, but it is a deeper and a more intense and a more targeted conversation that we need to be having about why this spirit and this intent and this initiative is happening in the police and society, and that's real.
Vince, we've had police since the beginning of civilization. You've always had a law and order. Somebody has maintained the law and dealt consequences for breaking the law from the moment you've had law. Going all the way back to Hammurabi's Code and the first laws that we were able to find that were recorded. You've always had someone enforce the laws.
Right, correct. However, I feel like what we're facing right now, a stronghold is because of the reason why the policing for whatever, America, whatever the case is, like, I just feel like, I mean, we know what they were called. We know what they were sent to do. You get what I'm saying? We know that. We can't negate that. And I feel like that is in abundance and a huge percentage of what's facing and what's dealing, or how the police are dealing with, you know, people of color and stuff like that. I do agree that police officers need to take race relation courses, and they need to get a certificate or something like that to make sure that they know how to respond and that they have some type of understanding or empathy per culture or what have you. But we cannot negate the fact that police, in terms of Black and brown people, were called slave catchers. Okay, and that spirit and that initiative is still existing in American history, in American civilization today. And we see it with Donald Trump, we see it with police brutality. You see it. So until that is targeted, you get what I'm saying?
It's the whole, yeah.
To finesse its way back in, and that's real.
And it goes back to what Zach said about the whole system. It's not just police. We are attacking police, but it's every industry that we're affected by. It's policing, it's healthcare, it's education. It's every single pillar that upholds American society. All of them are all systemically racist. And every single one of them has to be slowly dismantled and reassembled to be right and fair for all people. All parts.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Black health matters. And research shows that Black people receive, not as good, medical attention because of racial bias. So our morbidity and mortality for the same things that the white people are going into the hospitals for is increased.
COVID-19.
COVID-19. So that is an excellent point and something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, like I said, we take money from the healthcare system, all kind of stuff. So I don't see what is to be up for the police. Like it's crazy to me. And when I go back to the crime, or drag you want to call it, the hurts is still the same. And I had a couple of cousins who passed away from black on black crime, and I have cousins who did black on black crime. It's wrong on both sides. And until we address that and become that community unit, but I know people get mad and do stuff, but it is so much. You have deaths in Chicago daily of babies getting shot up, of people, old folks getting shot up. It's crazy. Did you not like it? I know a story now with an old man that's walking down from the grocery store getting his wife medicine, got shot up by a drive-by. You get what I'm saying? And like, and that touched me because like it bothers my soul. And yes, police are killing us, and yes, police is doing us damn wrong. But damn it, it hurts when black people do it. It hurts me more, really. Cause why would you kill your own brother over somebody stepping on some damn Jordans?
And you know what Zach and Jared are saying is that crime is crime is crime, no matter who perpetuates the crime, and no other group identifies crime by a race. You don't hear white on white crime or Asian on Asian crime because it is, and the term, the term comes from the white community, and it started to take big root in the 60s and 70s as they were trying to portray black people as being criminals. That is the root of the word, and I learned that from reading the book Stamped from the Beginning, and it's a book I hope everybody will read with me throughout the month of July. You were going to say, Vince, I'm going to mute.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that's good I think that is good to sort of make it a generalization, if you will, in terms of crime, but that is not the way that these people view us. Okay, they are calling they're calling.
We have to change the narrative. We must change what they say.
I understand. Okay, I give you that. We do have to change the narrative, but while we're changing the narrative, we still got to be accountable, and we still got to have the conversation, and we still got to take the ownership and making sure that it doesn't happen. So I definitely agree with my brother over here and saying, regardless of how rooted or where the word came from, shoulda, coulda, woulda, so on and so forth, I don't care if it's been on this planet for 40, 50 years. The problem exists, okay? And because the problem is continuing to exist, then it's adding more fuel to the fire for the people that we're trying to take the narrative away and change it from, for them to feel as adamant and prideful and right as they do. So regardless of the word and how long it's been here, we still, as black and brown people, it should not happen. We got to make sure that our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed, period, point blank. And that's what it is.
So it has been a robust night. We are now at 11 o'clock, and we need to see how Governor Brian Kemp is taking over the city of Atlanta. You have tanks on the streets. You have 1,000 National Guard troops. They have come. They are taking care. They are right now rounding up all the black people from University Avenue. I want to see what's going on. Godspeed and good night. Turn to your local station and see what your governor is doing, since your mayor failed to do her job as she is fighting for her life with COVID-19, and all you want to do is attack her online. Have a wonderful night.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh, wait a minute. What else is happening this week? You're muted, Rodney. Where can we see you?
Wednesday, I'm still doing what we do Wednesday. Next week I'm going to talk about how you can vote for me for this award. But other than that, I want to see what's going on with the news, because I'm glad you said it, because that's alarming.
Yeah. Okay. Where can we find you, Ryan?
You can find me on Instagram, gooddrugs_, and you can come by my job anytime.
Come by and get some good drugs. Not bad drugs, good drugs. And you guys can check me out on Thursday. We have a great show for you on Thursday with 3+1 Media. Can't wait. Go and watch the news, guys. I can't wait I'm going to rewind it because it's have a great night. Talk to y'all soon, guys.
Good night, y'all. Bye-bye.